Oh, excellent. All right, guys. So today we're going to be going over one of my purple belt matches at the New York Summer Open. And this was the first round of that tournament. So let's take a look here how we start. Shaky cam. All right, so the match starts off. Okay, so I'm looking to establish grips right away. So if you see, I use just a basic foot trip here as a distraction, and I'm looking to get my grips. In this case, he moved back, so I wasn't able to get my grips here. So I wasn't able to establish reliable grips. So he comes back and ends up grabbing my lapel, and he pulls right into the De La Riva guard right away. Okay. So as my partner pulls, so if you take a look here, as he pulls, he's holding on to this lapel right here. Okay. So this grip is not really high enough. You really want this grip to go up above behind your neck. But I don't like this grip to begin with. It's breaking my posture and it's going to give me a hard time to pass. So what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to take my two hands here and I'm going to break this grip off of my collar. Okay. So that right away negates any chance that he has to break my posture. Okay, my posture here, if you look, he has no grips here, so I'm going to be able to stand up. So what I'm looking to do here with my left hand, I'm trying to get a secure sleeve grip here. Okay, so as we've gone over in class many times, if I'm able to grab this hand here and also control the foot that's posting on my leg, on my hip here, I'll be able to control his guard. He won't have a reliable guard here. So let's check out what happens. I establish my grip. I pull the sleeve, and now I look for the pant grip right here. As you guys can see, I have two grips, one on the sleeve, one on the pants. What I'm going to look to do now is I'm going to pull both of those grips up. You see here, he's reaching for my lapel and trying to pull it out. So I'm not sure if he's trying to pull into some worm guard or squid guard here, but I don't want to give him the chance to wrap me up in the lapel, so I'm going to look to pass right away. Here I see that his body weight is moving towards his hip. Okay, but he doesn't have good control of his leg here. I have control of his leg, so I'm going to use it to drag his leg over to this side as his head falls down to the mat on this side. Okay, so this position here is not quite stable, but you guys can't see this. My right hand here is holding his bottom leg. Okay, so in order for him to recover guard, he's going to need to turn into me and get that bottom leg in between me and him. Okay. What I'm looking to do here is I got past the legs, okay? So the second part to complete the pass is I got to secure the hips, okay? So in order to secure the hips, my head has to be on one side of the hip and my shoulder has to be on the other side of the hip, okay? So let's take a look here. So you see here, north-south, okay? But if you can see, my shoulder's on one side, my head is on the same side as my shoulder, and my other shoulder is right here by his knee. So this position here is not stable. At some point, I need to be able to get my head on one side. So if my head is on this side here, that far shoulder should be across on the far hip. Or, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to walk around, and I'm going to get my head on the far side. I'm going to get this shoulder nice and low on his hip here. Okay. So as you can see now, my head is pointing to his far hip and my shoulder is connected to his lower hip here. Now he can try to bridge, okay, but it's gonna be futile. It's gonna be hard for him to recover here. And then furthermore, I'm gonna start to post on my feet now to drive all that weight down, okay? All I'm trying to do here is solidify my position so that I can get my passing points. There's a post, good. All I'm going to do is keep driving my weight. So the more that he fights back, the more energy he's burning. And I have really good control here. So now my head is really on the far hip and my shoulder is really on the near hip here. There's no way he's going to be escaping from here. Okay, he can bump all he wants. So I'm just going to sit there and hold and wait for him to relax a little bit. So you can see here, my shoulder is digging into his hip and I got that arm all the way around, reaching the far grip here of his gi. my other hand is controlling his shoulder here, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because sometimes from north-south, especially when your hips are up, okay, people like to take their feet and they like to try to reach over the back, like they're doing a back row, and they like to climb up on your back. So what I'm doing here with this grip, I'm maintaining it here, and if I were to feel his legs come up, I'm gonna use that grip to pull him up, okay? Because if his head is up, it's gonna be extremely hard for him to get his legs around my back like that, okay? So I see that he started to calm down a little bit here. So he's waiting for me to move. So now what I'm gonna look to do is secure a nice side control here. So I'm gonna start changing my position to get to side control. So in order to do that, this hand is gonna come across his face. So I'm gonna look to get a cross face, and I'm gonna look to get this arm out and over his hip. And both of my knees on the far side are gonna look to secure that close position there. Take my arm out, boom. Okay, so now what he's doing here, as you guys know, I like to have this arm here under his back, okay? But I want to flatten him out. The problem is I don't have the cross face yet. See, my arm is still here over his shoulder. So this is going to give him the ability to turn into me. If my arm were on the other side of his face, pushing his shoulder towards the referee on this side, he would be able to go flat. Right? But since I don't have the cross face, he's able to turn. And what he's doing now, he's pulling my lapel. So he's been working this lapel the whole time. I wasn't really sure what he was working for here, but he pulled the lapel out. And as I look to secure my position here, okay, I realize he's pulling the lapel out. So I don't want him to go for like a baseball bat choke from the bottom. Although I don't particularly like that choke, I've seen a lot of people go to sleep when they don't respect that choke from the bottom. Okay, so he's pulling the lapel out. So what I'm gonna look to do, I don't want my hand trapped if he's gonna go for the baseball bat choke. So the minute I feel him pulling my lapel out, okay, I'm gonna remove my hand from the bottom. Okay, so you guys see that? I felt him messing with my lapels here, okay? And he's like letting me stay in side control while he's fishing for these lapels, which tells me that he's planning something. I'm not really quite sure what he's planning yet, but I took my arm out just so that I'm not compromised. And I also want to be able to respect this choke. Like I said before, I've seen people not respect it, and then 6 seconds later, I've seen them go to sleep, okay? So he reaches his arm around here. So now I'm convinced he's going for the baseball bat choke. Okay? Only thing is that I have a nice little counter for the baseball bat choke. All right, so I'm gonna take my time here in the top side control position because I know he's working the baseball bat choke. And since I know what he's working for, I can actively plan to try to counter it. All right, and since I have the counter for the baseball bat choke, I'm kind of letting him get his grips, but not in a too compromising way. Okay, so let's just take a look at how that plays out here. Okay, so I'm staying in side control here. He bumps, which lifts me up, and I use that opportunity to get the knee on belly. So let's just take a look here really quick. Let's rewind it. So he bumps, and as he bumps, I use that opportunity to slide my knee in for the knee on belly. Okay, and the reason I did that is because he's holding my lapel around my back here, which is keeping me connected to him. Okay, so I'm gonna try to use the knee on belly to push myself away and create some distance. So there you go here. Now, he has a really good grip over my back here with the lapel. So this is preventing me from getting more posture. Okay, he's holding really tight here. And I still have the knee on belly. So because he's holding really tight, I decided that I'm just gonna attack this arm here. So if he overcommits and keeps this tight, I could potentially get a straight arm bar here right from the knee on belly. So if you see, I start little by little climbing up his arm here. I was thinking at this point, being that he turned all the way to his side here, I was thinking about stepping around and going for an arm bar. The only problem is that this lapel grip is really bothering me, so it's not letting me posture up to really throw that leg over. Okay, so I kind of hesitate there. He ends up going flat, and upon going flat, I see his arm is across my neck here, and his leg is coming over here. Okay, so I want to look to get my head out of there. Okay, he turns back to his side, and now I'm really committed to going for this arm bar here. As you can see, his arm is almost straight. I'm using this knee here to keep him on the mat so that he doesn't come up to his knees. And at the same time, I'm trying to climb up on the arm, and I'm trying to pull the arm in so that I can force a hyperextension on his elbow. So he did a good job hip escaping here. As you can see, my knee drops to the floor, so I lose the leverage and balance that I have from this position here. So when he hip escapes, you see here, hip escapes, my knee drops, and I lose all this leverage here. Okay. So I don't want to lose the position, so I immediately reach over the back to keep him connected. Okay. He still has this choke here, or this grip on the lapel. Okay. Right now, it's not posing any threat, but if he were to make a grip switch, okay, so if he were to pass that lapel to the other hand like this, or connect his two hands together on the same lapel, then I would react a little bit more to the choke. But right now, he's just holding me, so I just want to keep it connected so that I don't lose the position. I also want to keep, you see here, my right leg is connected to his hip, and my arm and legs are tight here because I don't want this knee to get inside that crevice here because he'll potentially recover his guard. Okay, so as you can see, let's rewind that a little bit. Oh, too far. See here, okay, hip escapes, I fall. So now he's trying to get this knee on the inside to recover his guard. As you can see, my elbow's gonna push his knee out so that I can maintain the integrity of my side control here. Okay, good. And as you can see, this arm goes down to his hip, and I'm trying to keep the same concept, right? One shoulder on one side of the hip and my head on the other side of the hip. Again, this grip is keeping me from going north-south completely, okay? I want to get this head to his hip, but he's stopping me and preventing me right here. So I maintain the position. I look for a belt grip here. All I want to do again is flatten him out so I can start to get something going. He has this grip on my pants, and he's reaching over the back here. Okay, so let me just share something with you guys. From this position, anytime somebody's reaching over my back in side control, whether they're holding my belt or they're holding a far lapel grip here, and they're controlling my leg and hip, okay, I'm very careful to how I distribute my weight. So if my weight is pointing towards my head and I'm leaning towards my head and I overcommit, with these two grips here, he can bridge and turn hard to his left, and he'll be able to get me all the way over. Now, while that's not a sweep, you still want to maintain the top position at all times, okay? So let's take a look here. So you see here, he's grabbing. I feel him grabbing my grip. So the only thing I'm focused on right now is keeping the position, okay? It's just holding the position. So let's go back a little bit. If you notice, I put my hand down there, okay? That's because I kind of felt like he was going to be ready to bump. So I want to have a hand that's ready to post. See? I posted here. I felt him move a little bit. Last thing I want is for him to turn hard this way and take me over. So I post my hand there just for balance. But I keep connected. Staying connected. If you can see, I move my knees back in to keep that bottom leg from recovering, okay? If I can keep that bottom leg from getting in between me and him, I can keep the side control position and won't have to worry about him recovering the guard, okay? But what I really want to do is, you see how his knees are pointing towards me? I kind of want to have his knees pointing the other way, okay? So I need to work on that. Okay. So what happened there, he went to bump again, and I realized that his arm extended, so I want to go for the same arm bar again. What I really want is for him to let go of that grip. I want him to let go of that grip so that I can start moving, okay? So he's still holding my leg, and he's holding that far lapel grip at the top, okay? So I'm looking to attack that arm again. So I'm pulling that arm, So here, okay, check this out. So here he manages to get his legs in between me and him, okay? So you see here, the issue is he used his top leg to get in between, okay? If he would have used his bottom leg to get here, I probably wouldn't have been able to recover the side control position. But because he used his top leg to frame, all right, and try to get the space, I'm gonna use my top leg, the one that's closest to his head, and I'm gonna bring that knee into my partner's hip. So what this does, it keeps that bottom leg away. Now, even though he has that top leg, that bottom leg is what he needs to recover the guard. So here, put the knee down. So he uses this grip here to elevate me on top of him, okay? So you see that? I posted my hand down for balance, and now I'm gonna use a knee switch to get back to the knee on belly position. Good. So right here, I felt him push my foot in between his half guard here. Okay, so now my leg is in between his legs, but the position is not established yet, and I have a little bit of space, okay? I have an underhook, and this grip here is close to his collar, okay? So my knee is on the mat already, okay? So I have a lot of my micro battles that I already won for the knee cut. Do I have the underhook? Yes, check. Is my knee on the mat? Check, okay? Now, here, his arm is out of the way. Normally, we would have to use our forearm here to collect that arm so it's out of the way and then we could slide through, but his arm is not posing a threat right now. So I grab his collar, slide through, and he's still with the pant grip. Again, I'm not really sure exactly what he's looking for here, but he's still holding my pant and he's still holding that far lapel. I slid my knee out, so now I'm gonna look to close this gap again. Okay, I gotta close that gap by the hip. Good. So what I'm doing here, my knee is pointing to his hip. Again, remember guys, he needs this bottom leg to recover the guard, okay? Without this bottom leg here, he won't be able to do it. So what he's trying to do, he's using his top leg here and he's hooking my foot, kind of like we do from the mount escape, and he's gonna pull it in between his legs to get it back to half guard, okay? Only issue is, he's still in a bad spot. I have a deeper underhook this time. Okay? My knee's still on the mat. I'm posted. All my weight is on him. Okay? So he traps my foot, puts it back into half guard. This is still a very good position for me, so there's no need to panic. He pulls the foot back in. I have my underhook. He's holding my leg here, so I can't do a proper knee cut. So what I'm going to look to do, okay, my head is also on the underhook side of his head. So I'm gonna take my head, you guys can't probably see this from here, but I'm gonna take my head from the right side and I'm gonna bring it over to the left side here, okay, same side. Once I bring my head over, I'm gonna take this arm here, my left hand, and I'm gonna look to grab his elbow of his arm here that he's controlling my pants, and I'm gonna look to break this grip so that I can knee cut once again. So there's my head, I move my head over, there's my arm. So I look to grab the arm, I pull the arm, and there it is. I'm pulling the arm, slide my knee through, and now I'm back into side control here, okay? Now my opponent goes back to that collar grip, okay? So at this point, I'm convinced that he's going for the baseball bat choke from the bottom, okay? Again, there's a counter that I like to do, which leads to an arm bar. So being that he's so committed to going for that choke, I'm going to look to set that choke up. So I'm going to look to bait him. I'm going to set up a trap. I'm going to allow him to get his baseball bat grips while maintaining a dominant position. And then I'm going to hit him with my counter, okay? So what my partner does here, look, he gets his grips. He makes a mistake because he doesn't have the other hand here for the choke. So he rolls early without having the choking hand, okay? The way the baseball bat choke here works, you're gonna get a grip like you're holding the baseball, like this, around the collars, and you're gonna look to bend your elbow in as you're rolling away from your partner, almost like you're giving up the back. But my partner rolls before he gets his grip here, okay? But what he does, he uses one of his hooks here, the butterfly hooks, and picks up one of my legs. Okay. So here I feel, now he has the lapel grip, and he's pulling my lapel over, and now his hands are together. Okay, so now I feel like the choke is really coming, so now I really have to respect it. The first thing I need to do is I need to get back to side control. Okay, so if he keeps me here in the half guard, if he keeps my leg trapped, I won't be able to do the counter that I'm planning on. So I got to clear my legs. Okay. So here he's still holding the lapel on that far side here. Okay, so he's breaking my posture, and now here he's controlling the back of my triceps here, and he's trying to keep me close to him. Okay, again, I gotta look for this underhook, and I gotta try to get past the legs once again. Okay. So I now feel him getting the baseball bat choke grips. Okay? I feel like he has both of his grips. So now there's an urgency for me to get around his legs. Okay, I do not want him to have that grip before I get past his legs. So I'm looking for a crossface. I'm in half guard here. I'm putting a lot of pressure. Okay, another thing is I want to keep the pressure down since he has those grips. Okay, he has these grips here. I want to keep my head down. If I lift my head and I give him the space here, for sure he's going to cut that elbow through and he's going to turn away from me, and then I would be in trouble. Okay, so I gotta get my legs out of his half guard. So I frame on his knee, I push that knee through in between my legs. Now I'm in the half guard. He does have a butterfly hook in my half guard here. So I keep that inside grip. If you notice, my head has to stay low. It has to stay low. If I give him the space, he's gonna cut that elbow through. Okay, so keep my head on his chest. And the only thing I'm concerned about right now is getting past his legs. So I start looking to get a shin trap here by going over his shin and grabbing his pants, but he extended away before I can get a good grip on his pants. Okay, but he made a slight mistake. So he pushed me off to the side, and he allowed me to weave through and get a leg weave grip, which is the 110% pass, right? So I reach over and I'm grabbing his bottom leg here. Once I grab his bottom leg, I'm able to step over. Notice how I'm keeping my head down the whole time. I do not want to elevate. So here's me trying to get past his legs now using the 110% pass. Cleared it. Okay, so now as I clear my legs, so you guys notice here, my head comes up. Okay. I'm trying to get my head back to the hip. Okay, I got to focus on putting my partner flat on his back. Okay, so I go to push. He's still framing, and now look, boom. Okay, now he committed to it. Let's go back. Before he wasn't, he didn't have proper grips here. Okay, and as I pass and secure the position again, he's framing on my hip. He makes the grip switch. So here's one grip, okay, and the other. Okay, yes, this is exactly what I wanted and exactly what I was looking for. Okay, so now he's going for it, and I'm glad. Okay, so I set him up. He took the bait. Okay, he took the bait. So what I want him to do now is I want him to feel like he can turn away from me and go for the choke. Okay, so I move my hand away from his arm here. If I move my hand away, he feels like he could turn. Okay, but at all times, I'm keeping tight control, guys, tight control. So what I'm doing is I'm allowing him to turn, but on my terms, not his terms, okay? So even though I moved my hand from here, my elbow is tight to his hip. This hand here is controlling his collar. Everything about my body positioning is allowing him to turn at my pace. So if he turns too fast, I'm gonna hold and prevent him from turning. If he's turning too slow, I'm gonna loosen up a little to give him the false sense of security, okay? So here we go. Right? See, I'm not holding his arm, I'm not holding his arm, okay? So if you notice, I keep moving my hand because I do eventually want to get to this grip, because this grip is going to stop him from turning completely. Okay? But I also want to get to the knee on belly, but I need him to commit. I need him to bring this arm across my neck. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Back. Okay. So if you notice, my hand is moving between the arm and his hip. So I get closer to the arm, but he's not completely turning, so I go back to the hip. And then I go back to the hip, giving him that full sense of security. Now here, he starts to commit. He starts to commit on the turn, okay? So this grip here is gonna hold his elbow, and I wanna control the elbow. If you control this elbow here, he cannot turn away from you, okay? And what's gonna happen is that they're gonna fight you on it, so they're gonna continue to turn, okay? Boom, I got my knee on his belly now. Okay, so now I got a knee on belly, but he's looking to change his grips now. Okay, I don't want him to change his grips. I want this hand here to stay exactly where it is and commit to getting that elbow across my center line. So I kind of stop here. I have to bait him again. So if you notice, I stop. I put my head right back down and I allow him to adjust his grips. I need him to get his grips and I need him to believe that he can get me with this choke. Boom, he adjusted. He bumped. This is it. He's ready to go. I got to my knee on belly. And there he goes for the turn. So you see that? Right here, when he turned his body, his elbow came through and crossed my center line. Okay? Since I have a knee on belly already, I'm going to throw the other leg over his face. And all I'm going to do is pinch my knees as hard as I can while I sit back. Okay. So as I sit back here, he still does a great job holding this grip here. So as I try to sit back for the arm bar, I can't extend because he's holding my lapel. So I'm going to keep the arm that I'm attacking, and I'm going to use the other hand to try to break his grip. Okay, I got it over my head. That's part one. Now this is just inevitable. If you can see, my knees here are pinched to the death of me. He can't get his elbow out, and he knows this. So the minute this grip breaks here, the match is over. Yeah. So that's the baseball bat choke counter when somebody tries to do the baseball bat choke from the bottom, okay? Simply pop up to knee on belly as they're turning away, throw your leg over to catch the arm, peel the grip, and you got yourself a nice little arm bar there, okay? So I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I'll get started on making another one, all right? I'll see you guys soon, bye.